I'm Algenon Cash, and you're locked in. If you're a part of my audience, you know how passionate I am for local small businesses. I absolutely believe that every community needs a diverse set of businesses. So, certainly, every community has a place for our large and middle market businesses. But I really believe that small business is the absolute backbone of every city, every community across this great country called America. So, I wanted to have a conversation with my good friend. Penny Schneck, who is the executive director of Triad Local First and a great champion for all things local right here in the Triad region. Penny, thank you for locking in. How are you?
Terrific. Thank you so much, Algenon, for having me here today. Well, I really appreciate this opportunity to talk about our members and the importance of shopping with local businesses.
I appreciate you. And you and we really, over the course of this year, I just met you earlier this year. I was really good friends with your predecessor, Tracy Furman. And I've gotten to know you this year. I call you a friend, you're a colleague, a partner. You all were even a sponsor. I want to make sure that my audience knows that for all of you that enjoyed Eat, Drink, Triad Restaurant Week and the 57 restaurants that participated during that week and all the great events that we were able to host, a lot of that would have been impossible without the sponsorship of Triad Local First. And so, Penny, definitely want to give you that plug. I thought we had a great campaign this year. I had a lot of fun, really enjoyed having you all to the table. But before we get involved in that, you're new to Triad Local First. So let's start there. Let's give my audience a little bit of introduction to you, Penny, and your background.
Well, it's been great working with you too, and we were very happy to be participants in Restaurant Week this year and look forward to continuing to support our local restaurant owners. A little bit about me. I have been pretty passionate about nonprofit organizations for quite a number of years. I actually retired about 2 years ago. And when I retired, I was working for nonprofits. I worked for two national blood banks. The one everybody would know, of course, is the American Red Cross. And that's where I really found my passion for how to use my marketing skills. I've been a marketer all my life. I like to say I got to use my evil digital advertising powers for good by going to work for nonprofits. But I did retire, and after a few months, I decided I always knew I wanted to go back and do some kind of volunteer work or part-time work to support another nonprofit. And this opportunity at Triad Local First came up. It's been a year now that I've been here, and I've loved working with all of the local entrepreneurs. I particularly enjoy getting together with them because having worked in large organizations, there's a certain mentality, I guess. But when I meet with the local entrepreneurs, they're so energetic, they're so passionate about what they do, and they're willing to work hard to make their businesses successful, that every time I have those meetings, I just walk away energized myself.
No, I think it takes an incredible amount of inner strength and resilience and composure and all those things to be an entrepreneur. And it definitely requires a lot of that. What made you sticking right now with your background? What made you want to transition from the nonprofit world to the for-profit world? And what type of differences have you noticed with that transition?
Well, I transitioned from doing marketing for profit into nonprofit. And I found that much more satisfying. You can only sell so many widgets or work for an advertising agency, and the different clients are interesting. But being able to use my skills to really make a difference in the community is what I really enjoy.
I love that. And I hope for my audience that's listening, because so many of us out here, we're talented and we spend a lot of time building that knowledge and building that experience. But to be able, the latter half of your career, the latter half of your life, to be able to use that knowledge, use that talent to actually give back to the community and build up the community, that's what being locked in is all about. So, Penny, I appreciate you sharing that with us. I know that so many in my audience are unaware and unfamiliar with Triad Local First. I was completely unaware up until maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And even this year, when I've been out singing y'all's praises and talking to my friends and partners and colleagues about what y'all do, a lot of times they haven't heard of Triad Local First.
Mhm.
How long have y'all been around? And catch us up on some of the great work you've been doing over the years.
Sure. Well, first, I want to thank you for the nonprofit work you do, so to speak. I know you are far from retired, but have your career in full swing, but you still manage to carve out time to support the community. So let me thank you for that. And eventually, when you do retire, we look forward to seeing you doing even more work for the community. But anyway, so back to Triad Local First. And that name at first maybe seems like a mouthful, right? Triad, oh, I work with Triad Local First. I'm a member of Triad Local First. But if you just slow down, I really love the name because it explains exactly what we do. If you think about it, it's the triad. So we cover the whole triad, the Piedmont triad, businesses throughout that area. And that's where we're different from, say, chamber or a downtown business association. We represent businesses throughout the triad area. And local first means that's really our mission, to promote the sustainability and the growth of local independent businesses. So really, Triad Local First as a name is a great way just to remember what it is we do and what our mission and vision is. Now, the organization has been around for actually over 14 years. And
Hmm.
honestly, there are a number of other organizations throughout the country that also share the same mission. So if someone were to Google Local First, they would find that there are a lot of nonprofit organizations throughout the country that share this mission. But we've been around for more than 14 years. We are focused, we are a nonprofit organization. We do have members. We are always looking for business members and donors, but what also makes us unique is in order to be a member, you must be a local independent business, and 50% of your business ownership must live in the triad. So that's
Hmm.
another thing that makes us really stand out from some other business associations in the community. We are all about local businesses and supporting those local businesses.
What I really love about Try It Local First, and I thank you for that very detailed description, and for also highlighting the difference between Try It Local First and our local chambers and some of the downtown organizations that have been created, because I think people do get confused about all the various business organizations that do exist. However, what I really love about what y'all are doing, Penny, is the regional approach. Anyone that knows me, if you're in my audience, you know the past 20 years, I have written about, preached about, and talked about regionalism with anyone that will listen. And I just think that some of the imaginary lines in our region that divide us doesn't necessarily prevent us from doing business together. What's been the reception from the region to TLF over those 14 years? And do you see a lot of barriers in between the three respective cities?
Interesting that you should say that. I'll be honest, I'm not a native of North Carolina, although I've lived here nearly 20 years. So we do have the majority of our membership is in the Greensboro, Guilford County area, but we do have members in High Point and Winston-Salem and Kernersville. And it has been part of our goals this year and will be for 2025 to expand that membership to include more businesses throughout the triad.
Yeah, and again, I want to stick with that because, and say you're not a native, I get that, but you've been here for 20 years. You certainly have learned about the politics that exist here in our region. When you talk about the regional approach, when you talk about it with business owners, I'm curious to hear what is their reception? Would they rather you be more laser focused in one city or the other, or are they receptive to regionalism? And then I'm also, as a tag along question to that, when you talk to community leaders and elected officials about TLF, what is their reception to that regional approach?
Well, another great question. Actually, when I talk with business leaders, they are very much on board with the idea that no city is an island and that we need to take a broader approach. And it's not just businesses in High Point that our members like Stock and Grain are very interested in having people from Winston-Salem and Greensboro come to Stock and Grain. So a lot of our business members understand the importance of really reaching across those city lines and working with other businesses throughout the region and attracting consumers, people to buy their services and products outside their city. They are, you don't have a retail salesperson who's like, oh no, I only want to sell to people in High Point or only Winston-Salem. All of the businesses are very on board with needing to expand the geography of their business relationships. When I talk with some of the community leaders, they certainly are agree and are on board with that philosophy, although of course they also have a commitment to be laser focused on their own communities. So we need to work on that.
And I think that's the friction that we've had in our region for so long. When the Piedmont Triad Partnership was originally created, that was the whole express purpose, was to bring about regionalism. Robbie Perkins coined the phrase "the heart of the triad," and a lot of arrows for that as well, because people weren't quite ready for that regionalism conversation. But it does seem to be a dichotomy between elected officials, community leaders who are in charge of one particular city versus business leaders who obviously see the economic power of regionalism. And that is the reason that I got on board with Triad Local First. That's also the reason why I think your mission and your vision is so critically important, because you all really are one of the only organizations at a regional level that's trying to connect people across all the cities. And I think that particular work is so important, and the reason why I'm such a fan of Triad Local First. The other organization or program that's trying to do the same thing is Eat Drink Triad, which we appreciate that support, because I came to realize that Greensboro has a lot of great restaurants, and I think people from Winston will drive over to eat at Pho Hin Vong and all the great cultural restaurants and establishments that you all have there. And I think people from Greensboro want to come over to eat at 600 and go to Foothills. And I think people from Winston want to go to Stock and Grain and High Point. I don't think these lines and these imaginary boundaries separate us when it comes to being able to support one another's local business. So I what you all are doing at that level, and encourage you to push it. I know there's a lot of resistance to this idea of regionalism, but it is where we need to be heading as a community.
I would also add that actually we're very open to partnerships with other organizations, and you've been helpful in connecting me with some contacts at Forsyth Technical Community College and the SBTC. We all really share the same mission to support and as it is to support local businesses. So there are times where it makes great sense for us to come together and put together events that cover the whole triad and can support and help businesses throughout the triad.
I absolutely love it. So someone is watching right now, and maybe they just started a small business, or maybe Penny, they haven't even started yet. They're just watching, they're listening today, and they are thinking about doing it. How does Triad Local First support that entrepreneur? How do you get involved? What are some of the tools or the training I might receive, or even some of the benefits of investing in the organization?
Mhm. Well, one of the other things that is very interesting and somewhat unique about Triad Local First is that a large percentage of our members are what we would call small businesses of 5 or less employees. It's over 70% of our members are small businesses with less than 5 employees. The other thing that I'm proud to talk about is that more than 40% of our member businesses are owned by women.
Mm.
And so because we have so many small business owners, it's really a place where they can come to talk with each other, mentor each other, share challenges and opportunities in addition to networking and referral, get referrals. When we have our monthly member get-togethers, our member networking mixers, it's really a place where that small business owner who has to wear 10 different hats, right? You're the salesman, you're the marketing, you're the COO, you're the CFO, you're trying to juggle all of these hats, all of these different roles. You are getting together with a group of people who are dealing with the same experience. So our members have consistently, whenever we do surveys, talk about how much that is one of their favorite things about the organization, getting together on a regular basis with other small business entrepreneurs so that they can learn and share with each other. We also obviously do workshops during the year. Since it's the end of the year, we haven't yet put together the schedule for 2025, but we'll be working on that. I'll be working on that with our board of directors in the coming weeks. So we'll be rolling that out. The other thing we do is we are probably one of the only organizations in the area that actually invests the dollars we have in working to communicate and educate the community, consumers, about why it is so
Hmm.
important that they work with local independent businesses.
I love the last point that you mentioned. I'm convinced that local residents want to support local business, Penny. They do. I think a lot of times local residents don't know exactly where to go to support those businesses. They're not aware that those businesses exist. A lot of small businesses struggle to market and get their message out and the word out about what they do. So the fact that you all are trying to augment that by also educating the consumer, I think that's hugely significant. What are some ways that you typically do that?
Well, just for this holiday season, as a matter of fact, we have secured proclamations from both Guilford County and the city of Greensboro at this point, and are working on more, where the local government officials are proclaiming it by local season. And
Hmm.
so we work with government officials, again, to advocate for local independent businesses. So we approach the government officials to provide certification proclamations, and then we promote that in the working with the local media. We also do news releases, network with the media to promote local businesses, and we are getting ready to launch an advertising campaign, a social media campaign over the next week. It'll start next week about shopping local for the holidays. So there'll be lots of advertising on social media. We also have on our website, triadlocalfirst.org, a page where we ask consumers to pledge to shop at local vendors. It's hard to do all your shopping with local vendors, although we encourage it. But the pledge just asks people to commit to spending 10% of their weekly budgets with local businesses. So we're only asking for 10%. And if they sign that pledge, they will be entered for the chance to win one of three $50 gift certificates from three different local small businesses in our area. So by signing that pledge, they have the opportunity to win a gift certificate that they can use for the holidays. They can also go to our website, and again, triadlocalfirst.org. And we have a business directory on the website. And you can go into that business directory and you can see all of our members, retail, clothing, gift certificates, restaurants, services. We have wonderful health and wellness services, spas, beauty treatments, massages, a lot of opportunities, food providers, specialty food providers.
Yep.
So they can look on the directory.
And I think that directory is important because, like as I said a moment ago, I'm convinced that local residents, our neighbors, want to support local businesses. They just don't always know where to go.
Right.
And I think consumers are like water. They take the path of least resistance. It's always about convenience and what's available right now. Hence the reason why something like Amazon has grown to the size that it has. And I don't think we're ever gonna do away with Amazon or some of these online giants that have been created. However, I am telling my audience, if you want to preserve the quality of life in your community, whether that's Winston-Salem, Greensboro, High Point, and all points in between, you have to support the local entrepreneurs. They are the ones that are supporting the community. They are the ones sponsoring the little league teams and the high school soccer team. And when you want to feed the football team, it's that local burger spot that's probably going to do it. So it's so critically important that we continue to support them as well. Penny, one of the things that I'm curious about, because you guys do a lot. So I know if a small business owner is listening to all this, they're probably thinking, man, it's got to be like $1,000 more to be a member of TLF. What does it cost? What's the investment for me to get all these benefits?
Actually, we deliberately keep the membership very economical because we want to support small businesses. If you are a brand new business just starting out, an entrepreneur just starting out, the first year's membership is only $50. That's for the year, and that's for the organization, your company. Any business past its first year, it's only $150 per year per company, which means if you can't come to an event, you want to send some of your employees, uh, or you want to bring some of your employees, you can. So we deliberately keep our membership rate very economical.
Now, I'm going to say that again. I mean, if you're watching this and or you're listening to this on Sunday morning and you're thinking about starting a small business, Penny is saying that for $50, a $50 investment, you can become a member of Triad Local First. You can surround yourself with people that are already in business so that you can begin to network with them. You can be invited to events. You can be invited to trainings and webinars and workshops and all types of things that can begin to get the exposure for your small business that you need before you even get started. And that's only a $50 investment. I am absolutely telling you, as someone that has been in business for 21 years, this will be the best $50 that you could ever spend in order to be able to get access to all the benefits that they. In fact, after listening to me talk about this, the board, they may go up on it. So you need to move
Better
fast.
hurry up.
You better hurry up because they probably thinking right now we might need to raise the price. But I think that's a very economical, affordable investment for a new business to make that's going to receive all the value and the things that you've talked about, Penny. So I think that is amazing. What would you say the makeup of your members look like? So what types of small businesses would I see if I went to an event?
And actually, a lot of people automatically jump to thinking that, oh, it's a lot of retail shops or and restaurants. We actually have a broad spectrum of business types. We certainly have restaurants and we certainly have retail, but we have also, as I said, a lot of health and wellness, whether it's chiropractors or believe it or not, we even have a family dentist's practice, insurance companies. We have a number of construction companies or businesses related to construction or renovations, a lot of service industries. We are not heavy in any one particular sector. It's any kind of local independent business here in the Triad.
You know, by you touching so many different members of the small business community, you hear about challenges, and I'm sure you hear about opportunities as well. I know right now, a lot of people believe we're in somewhat of a challenging economy. I think the fundamentals of the economy are pretty solid, pretty good, but the
Mhm.
fact of the matter is prices have been high for a considerably long time, and I do think that that is starting to weigh quite a bit on the normal consumer. When you're talking to your members, when you're having these conversations, what kind of challenges are you hearing small business owners express right now?
A lot of time it's about marketing their business, getting the information out. And that's one of the advantages of being a member as well. So, right, you have all these smaller businesses and they don't have a lot of time or necessarily expertise in how to market their business. Um, so by coming together as a group, we have more power to negotiate discounts. So some our members can benefit from some advertising discounts with various marketing organizations throughout the Triad, and the power of the overall marketing message that we're sending out about looking for and working with local businesses. You know, coming to our website, looking at the directory to find a local business in the area that you need services.
Penny, you talked extensively about your past marketing experience and your career, not just nonprofit, but also for profit. I see marketing being a huge challenge for all of our small and micro businesses right now. I mean, the has gotten so noisy. Social media, which started out as like this great thing, and my audience are they're listening to this right now on social media, but social media has gotten really busy, really difficult to manage, even harder to figure out how to get your word out.
Mhm.
As we get ready to wrap up, because I'm running out of time, but what would be that for that business owner listening to this conversation right now that's just trying to grab a little nugget that they can apply? What
Mhm.
would you tell them about marketing in today's climate?
Oh, I know this answer. It's because this was what we did in nonprofit, all nonprofit work, right? I mean, in tight budgets, it's all about direct response. Okay. Do not be spending your budget on brand building. Okay.
Mm,
You need every dollar needs to be able to show what kind of return you're getting on it. So that does, I mean, get that from social media. You can track how much you're spending, return on your investment is now from social media. You can do that from digital advertising. You can do that from, there's a lot of opportunities with, it's more expensive in print, but direct response. There are some organizations that do, zero in on a geographic region for you. So that my number one piece of advice is it's all has to be direct response. If I invest a dollar, what kind of response am I getting back?
Penny, I love that. And for my audience, if you are listening to this right now, she just gave you some marketing gold because Penny, so many times I get pulled into conversations with people and they say they want to build the brand. And I'm like, you don't even have revenue yet.
Mhm.
You're not even selling anything. You don't have a brand. You have an idea, you have a concept. Or as Trump would say, you have a concept of an idea, I suppose. But you really, really got to figure out how to get that business off the ground before you start figuring out how to build a brand. And I see so many entrepreneurs and owners waste money, waste resources, trying to build a brand for something they haven't even generated revenue for.
Right.
So I think that's great advice. Real quick, before we wrap up here, Penny, we're getting ready to go into 2025. I'm sure Triad Local First has a big year planned. What can we expect?
Oh my gosh, we are going to continue to promote the pledge, continue to work on communication to consumers, be it through our social media, the media about why it's important to shop with local businesses. We're going to continue to build the opportunities for our members to get special discounts with advertising venues. We are going to be hosting at least 4 educational workshops in the coming year on
Mm,
topics that are of most interest, which tend to be things like marketing. AI is pretty popular, financial services. These are some of the buzzwords. The feedback we get from our members about the topics that they're most interested in learning more about. And we will continue to have monthly meetings where people can network and learn from other entrepreneurs.
And for my audience, just as a final reminder, everything she just listed that's happening next year for an investment of $150. If you're an existing business, you can take advantage and receive value from Triad Local First. If you're a startup business or you're just still contemplating what you want to do, but you want to start surrounding yourself with people that are already doing what you want to do, that just costs you $50, dollar investment, and then you're a member of TLF, and you can experience all of what Penny has been talking about with us on this episode. Penny, thank you so much for locking in. I hope as a part of the Triad Local First agenda for 2025, that will also include continuing to collaborate with Eat Drink Triad because we
Oh, of
certainly
course.
appreciated your partnership and look forward to doing more of that. To my audience, make sure you go check out Triad Local First. They do have a website. They're on Facebook. They're on Instagram. You can find them in all your favorite places that you like to scroll. Make sure you continue to stay locked in with me and WTOB because every Sunday morning, that's where you can lock in with me. If you happen to miss me on WTOB, hopefully you're subscribed to the podcast. You can download that on Apple, Spotify, Pandora, wherever you like to get your favorite podcast. You can always lock in there. As until next time, as always, y'all stay locked in.